See what happens, all these statos, all these sports scientists, where are they when it's all going pear-shaped?
Yeah.
It's a good old bit of bonding, team spirit,
Yes.
game of golf, night out, have a dinner. Oh, guess what? Senior players put their arm around young players.
Right.
Senior players look after new signings.
Yes.
Basically what it was saying in the article. I mean, this has been happening since day dot.
How easy is it? How easy is it to kind of force on people though? Like, does there have to be an organic part of it? Like, you talk about that Celtic side that you win. Clearly, you're all very close.
Well, look, clearly, if you want to organise a little bit, and like, not everybody plays golf, I understand that, and not everybody goes out and...
Go-karting? You used to like go-karting, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But, you know, as long as you can get 90% plus, the main people, as long as you can get them invested, if you're going for a dinner and a few beers and chill out, have a chat about some stuff, have a bit of fun, relax. There's no point doing it if there's only half there.
Okay.
It's pointless.
Right.
Because now you've got a split and a clique.
Correct.
Right? So you've got to have almost everybody on board and say, look, I know you don't, listen, you don't have to, just come along, like we're doing this, we're doing that. And what I found was with the teams that were pretty close, the squads that were pretty close, almost everybody would be a yay straight away.
Yes.
So, but if you get 8 or 9 what you would call senior figures saying, I'm not interested in that, I'm not...
Yeah.
Then it's a difficult one to sell.
Nate, I'm obviously captain at QPR. How did you try and get the team bonding, or did you have issues, as Craig suggests?
I didn't really have issues as such, just because the squad itself was a lot younger than I was. I think as I became captain there was a certain change in sort of transfer policy. It went from people who were Champions League winners who were just trying to play in West London, you know, to people who were coming up from, say, League One, League Twos, they were under like 22, 23 years of age. But I think, interestingly for Craig, and the point that the article made about, say, that element of culture and people leading it in senior pros, I think to be able to do that, you need the foundation of having a manager that's probably been there for longer than like a year, 2 years as well. Because I hear similar things from City and other sides which have done well historically, in recent times. Because then you know the manager, this is the way it's going to be, this is the culture of the football club. The players themselves, like a senior pro, doesn't necessarily need to be someone that's old. It could be somebody like Alexander-Arnold, he's the vice captain, but he's still in his low 20s. And he can do that because he's played for so long and they understand what it's like to play for the team, understand what it's like to help people settle in. And I think it's good when you can step into a place as a new player and know that's what it's about, to know that you're being welcomed into the space, as opposed to, you know, at times when you enter a club that's in transition, it's almost dog eat dog. Does the manager like this guy? Well, this guy now wants to leave. This guy's worried about themselves. But that whole team environment, when you can set it up in that right way, I'm sure it's a manager's dream. But then also it gives people a chance to be successful, because realistically, and I'm sure Steve would probably agree with this, like, there are so many ups and downs within a season. But if that group is right, you'll find ways to be able to navigate those bad moments and work hard together to try and be successful. And nothing's guaranteed, but it's a far better atmosphere than a place which is divided, which is really toxic and, you know, doesn't have a culture apart from people solely fending for themselves.
What was it like when you left Liverpool, Stephen? Well, no, not even when you left Liverpool. You saw a change at Liverpool, obviously, of that tight group that you had that was so successful. And then once that dispersed, obviously, how difficult was it then to try and get that bond again?
Well, it's so difficult that we couldn't do it.
Why?
Because we made too many changes at the one time, which actually were forced upon the club. And the changes that were made, the character of the players that came in, the club was, too big for them, and so then they started worrying about themselves only.
Right.
That's a recipe for disaster. And that's what happened.
And as a senior member of the team, did you try?
Absolutely.
But it just was...
Yeah, and you asked it a couple of minutes ago, you said, you know, it has to happen organically.
Right.
You really can't force it. And because the likes of myself did try and force it, and we did try and organise nights out.
Right.
And it actually made it worse, because people wouldn't turn up. And so eventually it's one of them.
Yeah.
You can only try and do so many things. So yeah, if you have the wrong characters and it doesn't gel, you can organise what you want. It's not going to happen. But the actual piece, though, I was nearly sick half the time.
It was very Liverpool TV.
It was so set up for fans.
Yeah.
You know, Mo Salah's been brought into the leadership group. I mean, again, absolute garbage, absolute nonsense. Somebody, it just happens.
Right.
You know, somebody will speak up, and then if they're talking sense, people will listen to them. But if somebody speaks up and they're talking garbage, then it's one of them. You'd be quiet. You know, so all of these things, and all this stuff on the wall, I can't stand that. All these
It
little...
can't hurt though, can it?
If it does, or it inspires one person,
Yes.
I guess that's fine.
Okay.
But I just personally think it's completely out of gobbledygook.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you what. Gillette Stadium is covered in them, right?
Yeah.
And of course, when the Patriots were flying with Tom Brady and everyone else, it was like, oh, it's inspiring walking around reading all the things. I'll tell you what, they can't win a game to save their life now.
That's true.
But they've still got all these things.
Yeah.
You know, so as I said, if it helps one person, that's fine. But personally, I don't float my boat.